for having us here today and calling, I think, one of the most important hearings that we've had on the topic of artificial intelligence. And I would agree that AI is the new Cold War between the U.S. and China. As this distinguished panel has highlighted, it's in fact the Manhattan Project of our generation, and we have the opportunity to stand forward and do this not just as a whole-of-government approach, but as a whole-of-nation approach to be able to stand up to China. I want to give a particular salute to our Secretary of the Army, who's brought forward 4 members of our top AI teams, commissioned them as lieutenant colonels, and also highlighted that this is a private-public partnership, not something that the American government nor the American taxpayer can do alone. In fact, with President Trump's Stargate, we're putting $500 billion to the advancement of AI, and that's truly something that I think should be saluted. We should also recognize, though, that the Chinese and the CCP specifically, Chairman, as you've highlighted, are not standing still in this space. The Chinese just this year have tested something called AI Commander. It's capable of generating 10,000 battle plans in under a minute. If you want to have an invasion of Taiwan, this is the type of tool that you want. Additionally, perhaps one of the more concerning items is a new AI group out of Beijing called Zhipu. Zhipu is an AI anomaly that is now facing off against the likes of OpenAI, and their entire intent is to lock in Chinese systems and standards into emerging markets before the West. So this is clearly a large-scale attempt by the Chinese to box the United States out. Now, as a counterintelligence officer who was on the front line in fighting against Huawei's takeover of the United States through something called Huawei America, very clever by the Chinese, we were able to stop that from taking root here in the United States. Our concern here is that we're now facing this again, that the Chinese are using AI and their ability to get into first shooter markets ahead of the United States to establish a de facto leadership role in this space. So, gentlemen, as we all know, the race is on. I want to thank you for not only your time here, but your leadership in being able to go after that. Tom, you're the president and chief executive for the Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessment. Giving the examples that we just highlighted here, one can only assume that the CCP is gearing up for a larger AI-enabled operation. I'd like to ask you, is the U.S. currently prepared for an AI-accelerated cyber attack, a zero-day attack, or a larger threat that faces us today?
Well, thank you, Congressman. You justifiably highlight some of the risks that we face, and I want to return to the uncertainty that surrounds this situation. There's a huge bet here, right? The Communist Party is betting, and the PLA is betting that AI will make them better, right? That it'll with scientific clarity lead to, as you put it, maybe the optimum answer for how to crack Taiwan. I think we as a society are betting differently, right? We're betting that AI tools can help human beings make more informed, better informed judgments to recognize signals from the noise. My primary concern is not that the Chinese authoritarians are right. My primary concern is that they may delude themselves into thinking that AI will allow them to do things that they won't in fact be able to do. It might be a great way for them to not win a war, but get into a war.
Dr. Mencken, I would agree with you on that. I'd say the same challenge is true for the United States, that we also need to be clear-eyed about what our expectations are for AI. In fact, it's one of the reasons that I've introduced H.R. 2152, the AI Plan. It's an act to make sure that we are implementing a strategy here within the U.S. government that we're using AI in a tandem way, not that every department agency, or as highlighted earlier, every state or every local entity is running on their own. This has to be a whole-of-nation approach. Mr. Clark, you're the co-founder and head of policy at Anthropic, a very impressive private entity who's been able to come to this. I'd like to ask you in our remaining time how the government and private sector can work cooperatively, not only to advance AI here, but to also disrupt, deter, and compete with what the Chinese have going on around the rest of the world.
Thank you. Two quick things. One, to advance AI here, we need the US government to lean in on AI deployment and to up-level the US government of both civil and the IC side. That's an amazing opportunity, and we're here to partner for that. On the international piece, the development with the US government of The standards by which we assess the safety and reliability of this technology in partnership with industry will help industry go out and sell globally and sell people on American standards that let them know they can trust our technology, and they'll choose to buy American off of that trust.
Let's make sure we can make it affordable, deployable, and effective for them as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Thank you. Representative